Okay, we are live. I am attorney Vincent Davis, and this is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm joined tonight by my two co-hosts. Our first co-host is Miss G, Miss Georgette Truan. Good evening, Miss Truan. How are you?
Good evening.
Good. Little smile on that face. Did you see that, Darren?
I did. I'm wondering what's going on here.
And we have our second co-host, Mr. Darren Guy from the state of Maine.
Yes,
Darren,
sir.
how are you?
I'm doing great, Mr. Davis. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
What's the weather out there in Maine?
In Maine right now, it is 69 degrees and a little rainy. Not too much. Big thunder. We've had huge thunderstorms up here lately.
Wow.
We actually, they said that there was one of them tornado things that we were watching. Right. Yeah. So.
All right. So we have a special guest I see here this evening, Patricia.
Hi.
Out in that Mojave heat.
It is not 69.
Patricia, how are you?
No, it is. I'm doing great.
Good. So Mojave, what county is that? Kern County?
Kern. Yes, I'm up in Ridgecrest.
Okay. And your case is in what, Bakersfield?
Yes. Yes.
So what's going on with CPS in Kern County? Like, I don't know for myself.
So I'm in the small town of Ridgecrest, so it is what it is. But everything has to be shipped out to the larger city in Bakersfield. So basically, I have a case, and I have 3 children. I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And so my social worker, towards the end of the case, she let me know that she actually knew me from childhood. I didn't know that, and I thought she was working with me. She said that she wanted the best for my family, that we were hoping when we go back to court that the judge would continue the reunification services. But in her paperwork, it says everything for the opposite, and she wants where my children are all 3 placed, they want them to be adopted. They're all together. So, I mean, that I love that, but she just hasn't been helpful. Like, I waited, I've asked, and so in February, I was notified that I was supposed to receive a copy of their report, what the social workers would present. And when I inquired with my worker, she said that she didn't have that and I would have to reach out to the courts. After that, she stopped coming to our visits. She had the local company called Legacy out here, their social worker, take over. When court was on, I believe it was March 6th, Monday, I got the paperwork on Saturday before. This isn't the only thing that has missed up in the mail. I also have other documents that are dated. Well, one was dated April 28th, which was a Sunday, but it's posted paid on the 30th, but it was in Santa Clarita on the 31st. She also mailed out another letter. There's only one letter that's mailed with no date on it, and it was to let us know that our visits had changed from Ridgecrest to Lake Isabella, and that we needed to be there at 10. That one was posted in the mail on the 23rd, and Santa Clarita when that was the visit date. So, I mean, there's been a couple things that, because of the mail, it was messed up, and I'm just going through everything, and I don't know what to say. I know I don't want to I accept the responsibility. I know what I've done wrong. I know, and I accept that. But I've worked and strived to do what they wanted, and what wasn't done, I had asked for assistance since she first started with us in September. when she finally got us into the services in January.
Mhm.
The like the parenting classes, getting us our IDs because we misplaced our IDs, and I let her know back in September, November, and she finally got me with a company in January. I let her know on a visit October 19th. I pulled her aside and I let her know that I needed her assistance. I wanted her to come and help me make the phone calls because I was embarrassed and shamed and I just was shy. I didn't want to do it. And so she made an appointment with me to come over on the 26th and we made the phone calls. In her documentation, she states that the mother and the father have not done anything that the court has required. We're not in court approved counseling. We're not in court approved classes, and that we didn't do the assessments. Everything I was always keeping up to date with her, and thankfully my spouse was taking pictures and videos of our time with our son at our visits in Lake Isabella, and because in her document she says that for the month of December she couldn't get a hold of us at all. There was no contact with either the mother or the father. Where we had texting with her, we had we originally had a visit on the 7th. I was not going to be able to make that, but my son's father was, and I let her know that. She went ahead and canceled that visit and made it for a different day, which we weren't able to make. If she would have just let him go to the visit, he could have been with our son. She wouldn't really ever address my boyfriend. She always dealt with me. She always looked at me, and anytime she did talk with him, she was always mad. She's like, "What have you done? What are you doing?" And then, like, when she would have time with me, she let me know that I needed to break up with him, or it was going to be really impossible for me to get my kids back.
Mhm.
That in the end, she went so far as to say that my best bet would be to break up with him and to go into the women's shelter and go into a rehab from there. I had asked from the very beginning, so back, in the beginning of visits with her, my daughters had trickled stop coming. My son was coming because he's a baby, but the girls, they didn't really want to come. And she said they didn't have to. So I had asked, is there any kind of phone calls or Skype video chat that I could do with them? Because she was saying that it was because they didn't want to see my boyfriend. And I was like, okay, but I want to talk to them and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. Can you give us a chance? Can you let her, give us a chance to see if it will work, our family, and get back together. But I never got that. When we had what was that, in November 3rd, we had it was a conference of like 9 people. There was my daughter's each of their teachers, the counselors, the school principal out in Kernville, their CCS, child college community services counselor, my social worker, her supervisor, the foster mother, the caregiver, and myself and my significant other. We were all on a phone call because, what was going on with my girls that needed to be addressed. And my social worker had gone and said that we weren't regularly attending our visits, and that the girls they were losing trust and they didn't want to see me. She said that they changed our location because we weren't coming to them. She said that my son has no attachment to us. All he does is cries through the visit. And when the I guess the mediator, he asked me, he's like, "Are you participating in your comfort calls?" My jaw dropped. I was like, oh my gosh. But my significant was like hitting me in my arm, like, shut up, don't cause problems, don't, cause a rift, because I was like, that's what I've been asking her from the beginning. Is there some type of phone call, some type of way I can talk to my girls? And here she is saying that, oh, I didn't know they weren't enrolled in them. Well, she would have been the one to enroll us. She would have been monitoring those phone calls, right? I was asking for those, and she was giving me the runaround. It was always, I'm looking into it. I've asked some of my coworkers, but nobody really heard of anything like that. After this guy said, are you participating in your comfort calls? She said that I didn't know they weren't enrolled. And he said, well, go ahead and get those started. So her next answer to me when I inquired about the comfort calls was, well, I need to talk with my supervisor because of the baby. Because she had a client before that was ordered for the comfort calls, but she had a baby and they couldn't talk. So they went ahead and canceled out those calls. I have 2 older children. So it's like, why can't I talk to them? And it's like, she waited so long. It's like the girls wanted nothing. My last visit with my daughters, Madeline came about May 15th was the last time I saw her. And she didn't have anything to say to me. And my social worker after the visit said that she was surprised she, didn't say anything, because the whole reason she had come to that visit was to go off on me, to tell me off. That was the last time she wanted to see me. I was shocked and bewildered that my social worker would be condoning that, but I was like, okay. So then she tells me in December that the counselor for college community services had reached out to her, and my daughter wanted to speak with me. And the counselor felt it was best that it happened in her office. I was so for it. I was already crying, but I was like, yes, please. I don't care. She can yell, scream, hit me, whatever. I just want to see her. She can be mad. They have every right to be. And I haven't had a chance to talk to them and explain or talk. So I'm fine with that. That was in December. She said that I had to wait until after January because of all the holidays and such forth. That visit never happened. I never got to see the counselor or my daughter. And with my younger daughter, her last visit was right around Thanksgiving. It was a couple days before Thanksgiving, and she said she wanted to see me. My middle daughter, she's 12. She's 2 years younger than my oldest. But her last visit, she said she wanted to see me for Thanksgiving. And I smiled and I said, I'd love to. I knew that wasn't going to happen because it's a holiday and I know they're not going to be working. But every visit after that, she didn't come again. And once again, when I inquired about the phone calls, she said she was looking into them, but she didn't think with the baby. And then eventually she just came out and said that my girls didn't want to talk to me. And at that point, there's nothing I could do. What was it? So, as I said, thanks to my spouse, I have one of the social workers' things was that she didn't see us or talk to us at all in December. I have a text. I have video of a visit because December 14th we were in Lake Isabella, and we have videos, a couple different ones, and she's clearly seen in the background. And also, why would I be at a visit with my son without supervision? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word. But she's seen there in the background talking on her phone. And once again, I have plenty of videos and pictures of my son sleeping in our arms, laughing, playing, having a good time, sleeping. like I said, she says that all he does is cries the whole time, and that's not true. But there was a visit where he cried for 45 minutes. As a parent, you always remember traumatizing moments for your children.
Mhm.
You never forget them. She would not let us feed him. It was for 45 minutes he cried. We tried everything. We changed his diaper. We rocked him. We coddled him. We changed his clothes. We took him around the room, tried to show him things. Um, she said he's not hungry. That, that's not what it is. That he just ate. He's fine. And as like when a child is pushing away from you and biting towards their ear, they're biting, not pulling like an earache. They're hungry. There's growth
Mhm.
spurts,
That's
and
true.
there's growth spurts, and it's at the time when, and she's like, no, that's not what it is. You have to wait. You can't feed them. They're trying
Who
different.
said that? Who said that? The social worker or?
Social worker. That's what she told us. She said that he had been to a specialist and that they were doing new routines and time schedules with him.
That's cute.
The following week, she had there was a fill-in social worker who was awesome. He gave us all kinds of information. He told us facts, and he just filled us in on a lot. Like how my social worker had said that my son had been to a specialist and that we couldn't feed him. He had specific times. He said that that's not true. He hasn't been to a specialist or a doctor. They don't know what's going on. They are trying different things, but I still have my rights and I'm allowed to go to the doctors. I'm allowed to get the reports. She had made me feel like, I can't do anything. I can't act. So when I started asking her, hey, because his appointment's in December, I was like, when's the appointment? She's like, oh, I don't know it, but let me go ahead and look into it and I'll get back to you on that. Never found that out. She never let us know. It was always the same answers. Always. I've asked my coworkers. Nobody's heard of that. Nobody knows about that. When I let her know that Bakersfield at the DHS office, they have a voucher for driver's licenses. She's like, I haven't heard about that, but you seem to be getting answers quicker than I, so I guess you can go ahead and get that taken care of. I was like, but
Wow.
they have, your DHS office, their DHS office, they have a voucher. Don't you guys have something? She didn't know. As I said, I let her know in September when she first started with us that we needed IDs. I let her know in November. I have a text November 21st. Then in January, I kept asking. So finally, January 25th, 27th is when she finally set me up with, it's called Family Resource Center. And they help, families and such forth. They were able to give me a coupon for my ID. They also they offered the parenting classes that we needed,
Mhm.
and all the stuff that, I had been asking for. She waited until January, went towards March. And she had already let me know that she was going to be writing up her report in January because it has to be submitted in February.
Mhm.
So when she wrote her report, we weren't in parenting classes. We weren't in a court-approved class, drug counseling, such forth. My question is, October 26th, she came, or 24th, she came to my home. We got on the phone with the gatekeeper, which is what the court told me to do. And she, put me on the phone with them.
Mhm.
They set me up with an appointment with Aegis. And they also had made an appointment with CCS, but I didn't follow through with that one because I lost my ID.
What was the reason, Patricia, originally that they took your children?
Okay, so it was in my home was extremely messy. So back in 2019, 20, I started noticing I was becoming depressed and I wasn't really being the best mom and I wasn't being on top of everything. And it's right when COVID started happening. So I have always had a village with, I have my mommy friends. So I put my girls with one of my other moms, and she has a daughter right around my girl's age. So my girls went and stayed with her. And then in summer of 2021, my girls went and stayed for 6 months with their aunt in New Mexico, my sister.
Mhm.
Then they came back in January, but my house wasn't completely cleaned yet. So my sister had them go with my friend Alice, a secondary friend. So, and CPS was working with my friend and my children in March. So CPS was aware that the kids were not living in my home. They had gotten in touch with me, and I said it was okay for them to talk to my girls for whatever reason was going on. And but
But why did they get involved, Patricia?
it's when I had my son. And
Why
my
did they get involved?
because I had my son, I gave birth, and when my daughters were having CPS, when Jacqueline had come over to talk to us, she noticed that the house was a mess, and that we weren't going to be able to bring our son home to that. So at that point is when she said that
So your
we
friend
needed
is
to
the
clean
one
it
that
up.
reported you? Your friend
I'm
is the
sorry,
one
no,
that reported you?
the hospital. No.
But
So
how would
there
the
was
hospital know you have a messy house?
they didn't they because I hadn't gotten prenatal care. So I had 3 miscarriages from 2015 to 2021. I had 3 miscarriages. I, my I had a awesome OBG, but it got to the point that every time that I went in, instead of sending me out for the dating and the ultrasound, she was doing it in her office because every time I went, there was no heartbeat. So it was like it was hard for her to have to call me back and to see me in that state. So she started doing it there in her office. You know how they
That
usually.
doesn't make any sense, Patricia, at all. This is doesn't make any sense. What do you mean she was
Okay, so
I'm not understanding.
you know when you first go to your OBGYN and you have your appointment and then they send you to the ultrasound?
Yes.
Okay, so they get the dating, the date, like the size of your baby.
Yes.
Okay, so instead of she had done that before, and when I went out there, they had to call. They said they closed it down, and they're like, okay, your doctor's going to contact you in a couple hours, which normally you don't see your doctor for a couple weeks. So when my doctor had me come back into the office, they let me know there was no heartbeat. So I was having a miscarriage. So the next time because I was 38 with my first miscarriage, and then when I was 40 and I went in again, instead of me sending me to the ultrasound, she put me into her office that has the ultrasound there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of sending me out, she did it herself.
Gotcha. She's a professional, right?
Yeah, she's professional and she had good bedside manner. You know, because she comforted. It's like she understood it. It was painful because when I had my first miscarriage, I had to go in and have a TC. And when I was moving from one bed to the next, I broke down. I was crying, and my son had come out. So it was just a lot, but she was so wonderful and sweet. She delivered my second daughter. So it's like she'd been with me this whole time.
Okay.
You know, my OBG, and she was very comforting. But it's still hard when you go in and it's like you have that first appointment and it's like there's no heartbeat. So she even tried telling me it's like start taking Tylenol when you take your prenatals. So when the baby first takes to the sac, hopefully it'll keep. Because
Tylenol?
yeah, I believe it was yeah, wasn't it Tylenol?
Are you
It
serious?
was either Tylenol or like ibuprofen or something with the prenatal for the first couple of weeks. You know,
I have no comment on that.
okay. Well,
It makes no sense, but it's okay. I'm sorry. I don't know who that person is. That's weird.
I was older, and I was like, okay,
So
so
was I. I had to do an amniocentesis where because they had to make sure that the lungs of the baby is developed, and thank God everything was healthy. I don't understand how they can tell you to take Tylenol, but that's besides the point. You know that.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh,
I couldn't hear her.
I said, I'm so sorry. I said, did Vincent mute me or did I mute myself?
Go ahead and continue your story, Patricia.
Okay. So just at the where we are currently is, I need to go. I want to go into court. I don't want to point fingers, even though what she has presented to the courts, and I have the evidence, the proof, the videos, the pictures. But I want to show them my completion for my parenting classes. Even though I was only required for 6 months of the counseling, I'm still doing it because nobody said so. I'm like, even though things are sad and hard, I'm not going to stop. It's like, I want them to see that I'm trying. I'm doing what I can, you know? It's not how she said, like, because she's saying that the mother and the father didn't do anything. And it's like, but we've done everything. And she basically held my hand for me to do these things. And it's like, how can you say that they're not court approved when they're the ones that set up the appointments? And
Well, let me ask you something. When is your next court date?
tomorrow.
okay.
I thought it
What
was
type
on
of
Thursday.
What
Huh?
type of hearing is it?
This is the one. This when I said that they want to put my kids up for adoption.
Okay, is this the
Because
hearing? Hold on. Is this the hearing to terminate your parental rights?
yes,
Okay. Who has your kids?
a caregiver.
Related?
Foster. No.
Okay. Have you and your attorney talked about having some type of strategy or plan for tomorrow?
No. With the 2 previous court dates, I had previously emailed my lawyer, letting her know that Nicole had personal bias because my counselor had let me know that terminology.
Hey, Patricia.
Yes.
Okay. You're going right and I'm going left.
Okay.
Okay. Have you and your attorney talked and strategized for tomorrow?
No.
Okay. Is this the first 366.26 hearing? Like, or are they going to have the trial tomorrow, or are they going to continue it for trial? What are they going to do?
I don't believe there is a trial. The social worker submitted her paperwork, and then the judge said that they've gone ahead and read the recommendation from I said that they've read their recommendations and they're going to go ahead and go with that. Tomorrow is supposed to be the long-term plan for placement of my children.
And what is the plan? Termination of your rights or legal
That's
guardianship?
what theirs is, but I want them to know and that's why I'm at a wall, because it's like I've done what they've asked. But in her document, she said that I didn't.
Okay.
But I have
So you have to do 2 things, and I hope it's not too late. You have to set this case for trial, and you have to file a 388 petition, and you have to file a motion for a bonding study. Now,
you said a
hopefully,
file of 388.
you know what? Don't take notes. This
Okay.
will be on the internet forever. So you can skip forward to the 28-minute 0.42-second mark, and you can just play it again.
There we go.
Okay. So you have to, number 1, set the case for trial.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, you have to file a 388 to either get the child back or more reunification services.
Yeah.
And number 3, you have to make a motion for a bonding study. Because the only way you can win a 2-6, not the only way, but the primary way you can win a 2-6 hearing in California is to show that there is a relationship with the child such that terminating your rights would be detrimental to the child. And under case law in California, that's hard to prove. So, and it's hard to prove unless you have a bonding study that's favorably, in your favor. Even then, I've lost cases where there was a bonding study and the expert said, it would be detrimental for the kid if the parental rights were terminated, and the judge has still terminated the parental rights.
And once from little investigation that I've been looking into, once parental rights are terminated, the only way to get them is if the children request them reinstated. No.
You're talking about things and maybe laws in other states.
Oh, other states. Oh, okay.
You're in California.
Yeah.
No such thing.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought I was saying, is that the only way was with the kids asking, and I was like, oh.
If your kid is 12 or older, they can stop the termination. How old are your kids?
15, 13, and 1.
Okay, so the 15 and the 13 can stop the
Okay.
termination. And if they're placed together, that may be enough, because there's something called the sibling exception. You know, where the siblings don't want to lose a sibling, right?
Yeah.
So are your 15 and 13-year-old, are they going to come into court and tell the judge, hey, we don't want to be adopted by anyone, we want...
They haven't attended any of the previous case dates.
So you want to make sure that when you change this, when you set the case for trial, you do that, and you tell the court that, and your attorney, you wanted to have a trial today. Why aren't you having a trial? If they want to go forward and terminate your rights, because a couple things can happen tomorrow. You could go to court tomorrow and they say, okay, we're here for the termination of your rights. Do you have any evidence? No. Okay, your rights are terminated. Or you can go to court and say, I want a trial. I want to come back in a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, and have a trial and prove that my rights shouldn't be terminated as to each of the children.
Okay.
Okay. And in order to have that, you need to bring your kids in. Would your 15-year-old said, hey, I don't want to be adopted?
If I had time to speak with her, yes, because that's the one that had reached out in December.
Okay.
And that's also the one that on my first visit had told me, hey, Mom, there's all kinds of lies in these. Yeah.
You know, before I did the show today, that's why I was a little late. I met with some new clients, and they didn't become clients until after the termination of their rights, right? I wish they had called me 6 months before, a year before. But we were talking about doing the appeal, and out of the blue, my client tells me he has videotape of his child who they're trying to adopt, saying all these kind of amazing things about the social worker's report, how there are untruths in it, how they were forced to say certain things basically because, to get dessert, to get toys, to get certain types of food, and the thing is, my client didn't take the video. You know who took the video? The video was taken by an older sibling who was placed in the same foster home. Now, for some crazy reason, they returned the older sibling to the parents. He's like 16 or 17. But the young girl, who's 7 or 8, they left her in foster home so that the foster parents could adopt.
Mhm.
My first inclination was to say, look, how can you get one child back but not the other? You're either a, what do you call it, a danger to all children, or you're not a danger to any children. So, we'll see how that plays out. But for you tomorrow, you got to focus on, making sure you have the context, make sure you file a 388 petition, make sure you get that bonding study. Okay.
Okay. And I still bring my evidence tomorrow, right? Because I can still leave that with the courts.
Well, see, this is the thing. What evidence?
My completion of the classes that she stated I wasn't in.
No. The problem, you have to bring that evidence up through a 388.
Okay. So look
If
what
you-
388 is. Okay.
Yeah. If you have evidence of that and you planned on bringing it up at the 2-6 hearing, it probably won't be admissible because it's not relevant. Okay, whether you did the classes or not is not relevant at a 2-6 hearing. You're looking at me with that glazed look.
Yeah, because I thought that was, because that's what her thing is she's saying that I didn't show any movement toward trying to get my children back. I didn't do any of what they had requested. And that's why she wants to terminate.
That's why I'm a little concerned that you haven't talked to your attorney for tomorrow. Because if tomorrow is the actual hearing and not the trial setting for the hearing, you're going to lose your rights. And you're not even on the right page.
Okay.
The judge and the attorneys are going to be on page 17. You're going to be on page 3.
Yep.
And then you're going to be scratching your head like Mr. Guy just did, wondering why you lost your parental rights.
Facts.
Yeah. Okay.
And there could be a lot of reasons, but here's the sad thing. If you're not on the same page and doing the right things for the hearing, the fact that there was prior corruption will be washed away once you lose your rights. You're going to be left to, having some type of lawsuit if you want to do that type of thing and you want to go into the lawsuit business, which is not a good strategy, right? It's hard, but it might provide you that Hail Mary that you need. But I wouldn't rely on that. It doesn't sound like you're ready to go tomorrow to court because you haven't even talked to your attorney. After this show, you know what I would do? I would call, email, text my attorney, say, "Hey man," or "Hey lady, we got to talk. We got to talk quickly."
And get together before we go into the court.
Yeah.
I've been watching I've been watching your videos for a couple weeks now. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something, and I appreciate that you watch them. I really do. But my videos aren't going to give you a master's degree in
No,
how to fight CPS.
we don't know how to change that transmission yet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're informative, and you might pick up an idea here or there or two, but it's not a substitute for talking to your lawyer and strategizing with your lawyer. What I intend them to do is give you ideas so that you can talk to your lawyer about certain issues.
Yes.
I'm not trying to hold your hand and tell you exactly how to do it. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I could do that, in a 2 or 3 hour phone conversation, but that's not what those videos are for.
No,
Okay.
I understand. It's just for ideas. That's just unfortunately I've already lost faith in my lawyer. As I
Okay.
said,
I know that you might have lost faith, but it's the only lawyer you have for tomorrow.
Okay.
So for tomorrow,
So you better
You know,
instill some faith in that lawyer.
love your lawyer tomorrow. I mean, if you want to get mad at him and her later, that's later. But tomorrow, that's the only thing. That's the only life jacket you got.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just sorry you haven't contacted me before today.
I know. I still thought because I thought the 26th was a couple days away, and then yesterday I was like, I actually took the time to look at the calendar. I was like, that's Wednesday, not Friday. Even still, it's only a couple of days, but
hold on a second because we're moving towards the end of the show. Before we go, I'm going to go to Mr. Guy first, and then to Miss G. I don't want to catch her off guard. Darren, do you have anything that you want to mention to our guest, Patricia from the Mojave Desert?
No, you know what? I think that she's got enough on her plate right now that she doesn't need anything more than what she already has. I mean, try to sleep tonight, call your lawyer like Mr. Davis says, and then go take a shower and go to bed. You need some rest and to get yourself back in one, because I'll tell you what, if that is your hearing date, no more suck than walking into that courtroom and then closing those doors saying, "Hey, we're here to take your rights away from your child," because it all gets very real there. That's a very real moment. And
hey, Patricia, I want to offer you my my mobile number, so you can text me. After you contact your attorney, I might be able to give you and/or your attorney some information that might help you. Okay?
yes, please.
You know what? I usually have the telephone number. Hold on a second. Miss G's telephone number is on there, but I think I have a banner up that I can't take it down. Miss G, what's your telephone number, your office number?
Oh, mute.
Oh, let's take her on mute. She has herself on mute, so I can't take her off.
Oh. Oh, she's got a cat.
That looks like one of those things that you see on the graphics that you add onto the screen. The cat comes across and wipes his paw. That's like one of them on my screens.
No.
Miss G, since you won't take yourself off of mute, can you post your telephone number in the comments?
I thought you muted me.
Oh.
I mean, I don't understand how you just mute me and then you say I muted myself. But it's okay.
That's okay.
You're so confused.
It's okay. Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us what your telephone number
Very
is.
confusing for the last 10 years I've known you, Davis. It's 626-631-8901.
Patricia, did you get that number?
8901.
Yeah.
8901.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
call
thank you.
her after the show. She'll text you my number, and then text me after you talk to your lawyer, okay? Maybe
Yes,
I'll be
thank
able
you
to
so
help
much.
both of you tomorrow. Be able to help both of you tomorrow. Hey, Patricia, I want to thank you for coming on this evening and sharing your story.
Wait a minute. Didn't you say you'll ask me if I want to ask her a question or share something after? I mean, I thought ladies come first, but Darren now.
I know.
He comes first.
Give her a little bit
But
of
Darren, I just hate
Davis
to
comes
think
down. He's like, give me the
I
phone.
hate to think that.
number.
Ladies first. Darren goes first. But it's okay, cool, man. It's all right. It's all good.
Hey, Darren, yesterday when I asked her to go, she
It
said,
was
you
yesterday.
caught me
Don't
off.
hold it against me for the rest of my
You
life.
caught me off guard.
Oh
Let
my
Darren go
God.
first. You
Dude,
caught me
it
off
was
guard. Let me
yesterday.
go first.
It's okay. That was yesterday, not today.
Okay. Do you have
Okay.
something
It's okay.
interesting to say?
I always have something interesting
Okay,
to
let's
say.
hear it.
Okay?
Let's
I
hear it.
choose not to because you want to hear it.
Okay.
You shouldn't
Patricia,
have said that.
she's not going to help you because I want to hear it.
That's okay.
We're
Patricia,
ready
I'll
for
tell
it.
you when you call me. I'll tell you.
Patricia, that's what kind of gal she is.
Yeah.
All right, Patricia, thank you for calling in. And
Thank you, guys.
don't forget to
Good luck
text me.
tomorrow.
Bye-bye. All right, folks. I want to thank you both for being
Hey, what about your tip?
Huh?
Tip, rule, tip.
Oh, yeah. Rule number 5. I started typing out.
Lord Almighty.
Never.
It's one of us
Rule
gotta
number
help
5.
folks.
Darren,
I remember that.
rule number 5.
I always like rule number 1.
That's rule number 1. That's 1 to 10. There's no happy medium.
Yeah. What
Okay, there it is.
do we got?
Never wait to talk to your lawyer the day
Call
before
Darren
the
in a
court date.
snowstorm.
But what if the lawyer doesn't contact you back? How are you going to make them call you?
Email, text, phone call.
Never mind.
Go to
let's
their
do it.
office.
Hey,
Just show up to their office.
Listen, if we just termed something ETP. Look at ETP these people. Like that sounds much cooler than email, text, phone call. You're like, look, you're gonna ETP your lawyer, you're gonna ETP your mom. Look at that. Let's see how long it takes that to catch on. ETPing.
Contact his supervisor. Baby, he doesn't. Lawyers don't have supervisors.
Who, Davis's supervisor?
No.
Davis is
Court
not
appoint-
the supervisor for all attorneys.
Court-appointed attorneys do have supervisors.
Do you know I saw mine today? And he didn't even say hello to me. He
You
walked
saw him
right.
at court?
Yeah, I saw him there. I went with a friend of mine to help be a support for her. And he came walking out and I said, hello, sir. And he went by me about 3 or 4 times, never saying a word, just putting his face right down and walking by.
Wow.
You know, that's crazy. You spend 2 years with a person and then they lose for you and you think that they'd at least give you the, decency to say hello.
Do you think he
Darren, you make us
recognized
sound
you?
like he slept with you. Or
Do I look
something.
am I that unrecognizable? I mean, I don't put on this nice outfit just for this show, Mr. Davis. This is my standard attire.
Wait a minute. They let you into court in a wife beater?
No, they didn't, Vincent.
Yeah. Well, I wear a suit, but it has the sleeves off of it.
Okay.
What?
Oh, I do.
No, you didn't. No, he
No, I
didn't.
wear a suit. I clean up good.
Okay.
He's
but-
being silly.
Yeah, silly Darren. But
He
let's
went
Alright.
without a shirt. I
hey,
mentioned
let's
that.
TP everybody about the 5th too, because that's coming up. We got the thing on the 5th.
We have a seminar on Saturday, August 5. It starts about, I think, 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, you said.
And it ends, I think, like 5 or 6 o'clock. We're going to have attorneys from all over the country doing presentations on CPS hearings and rules and strategies. I think we have about 5 commitments right now, looking for about 2 or 3 more. So hopefully by the 5th, we will have those. Or I'll be doing a lot of fill-in
Well, I mean,
presentations.
Are they going to be able to ask questions? People
Yes.
are okay.
So the format's going to be presentation, Q&A section, presentation, Q&A section, presentation. And I may, if I can figure out how to do it on Zoom, I may have what they call small group discussions. So while a presentation is being given, if somebody wants to talk to an attorney, they can go into a small group, private room, with just them and the attorney, or them and other people and the attorney, have their own question and answer session while the seminar is going on. Part of the fee structure is if you get a certain level, you get a tape.
just gonna fix that.
You get access to the seminar online forever. So anyway,
So there is a fee schedule involved in the certain, and you get certain.
there's a
levels.
cost schedule.
Okay.
And if you look at underneath me, there's a running banner. There's where you go to sign up, and everything will be explained to you there.
Heather asked, what state is this in?
Do we have to sign up,
What
Georgia?
state is this for?
It's not a specific state, Heather. It is attorneys from all over the country who will be presenting, and you can ask for your own state. And generally, a lot of CPS strategy is the same from state to state.
Mhm.
So,
I did tell Davis about Joseph Goodman, attorney Joseph Goodman. I did text him that day. I was fixing my car. I know, but he did not respond to my text. I think he was busy that day. But I will remind him again. Attorney Joseph Goodman.
Good mind.
Hey, Grace, you and the producer Grace and Georgette, Miss G, should get together so we can make a list of all of the people that are committing to present, and we need to send them like a text or email every other day to try to remind them.
I have Joseph. I have
Put that up,
Joseph
Miss Grace.
Goodman. I have his cell number. I know him personally.
Oops.
So I totally forgot. Okay.
It
here we
won't.
go.
It won't go up, Darren.
Oh, it was so close. I saw it. It was there.
Is it a video?
It's an MP4. Yeah, it has a little bus crumbing. It has a little bus cranking that says Davis taking it to CPS on the road. It says in Davis we trust tour with a little $100 bill with your face on it.
Okay, so what we're going to
Davis
do?
we trust. In God we trust, sweetheart. God
Yep.
uses Davis, but in God we trust.
We're
Let's
going
make
to.
him number
Oh,
one.
in this little world, Davis we trust.
Well, okay. All right.
Maybe
Hey,
Grace, you
your
can
world.
figure out how to play this video tomorrow. We can play it tomorrow. Okay, folks. Thanks again for being on tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Good night, all.